Are you running late with your medical school applications? Today's video is going to discuss what you need to know about late applications for medical school and when you should wait until next year. Hi, my name is Chris and I'm an admissions associate here at BeMo. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe on whatever social media channel you're watching this from now so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. If you would like us to help you with your med school applications, visit BeMoMedApplication.com to schedule your free initial consultation. As a quick tip, check out the timestamps in the description of this video to navigate to specific sections of the video that you're interested in. Here's what we're going to cover. All is not lost. Maximizing your success with a late medical school application, and when to wait another year. By the way, we're giving away $50 Amazon gift cards every week to the best comments and questions, so comment below for a chance to win. There's this one thing that will dramatically increase your chances of being accepted into medical school. I'll explain in the end of the video, so keep watching to find out. If you're submitting a late medical school application, you are not alone. While it's an undeniable fact that the earlier you submit your application, the higher your chances of success, a late applicant can still have a chance at getting a coveted medical school interview. With the right analysis and strategy, you can save your late application and land yourself an interview invite at one of your chosen schools, even if you haven't followed the ideal medical school application timeline so far. Right off the bat, we want to emphasize that applying late to medical school is never a good approach. We always encourage students to prepare their application components and start their app preparations as early as possible. If you are applying in the United States, you should be ready to submit your primaries in June. If you're applying in Canada, your applications should be ready to be submitted as soon as the application system of each school and OMSAS open. However, life is full of unpredictable events that can affect your preparations. If you are running late with your medical school applications and are still determined to apply, there are things you can do to increase your chances of getting interview invites. Remember that a great application always has a chance to get an interview invite, though the number of spots available at that stage may be limited. To stand out from the crowd and secure your spot, you'll definitely need a competitive application with good grades, impressive extracurriculars, a great MCAT score, and so on. If you're in this boat, the most important thing is to be honest with yourself and reflect on your application. Ask yourself, what are my strengths and weaknesses? Are you a competitive applicant? Examine this from an objective point of view. Compare your own GPA, MCAT, and medical school resume against the average accepted stats of the schools you're applying to. You can check MSAR or the school websites to get this data. Also, think about your overall suitability for the programs you're applying to. How do your activities, experiences, and achievements align with the requirements and preferences of your choice of schools? Are you a desirable candidate based on your values, skills, academic history, personal story, background, and identity? This analysis should help you understand your realistic chances of getting into medical school even with a late application submission. If you're applying late, here's what you can do to maximize your chances of getting an interview invite. Strategic school selection. We recommend all medical school applicants conduct a deep analysis of their strengths and weaknesses and only apply to schools where they have the best chances of success. But for late medical school applicants facing fiercer competition, this analysis is even more crucial. You should ensure that you're not wasting your time, money, and efforts applying to schools where you have very little chance of acceptance. Here are some factors to consider. Applying in-state. Many state or public medical schools favor in-state applicants, with the majority of seats reserved for local residents. This means that as a local applicant, even with a late medical school application, you have a competitive chance for getting an interview invite, provided you meet their admissions requirements and impress the admissions committee with your application. Conversely, as an out-of-state late applicant, avoid applying to schools that favor in-state applicants. Your chances of acceptance at this late stage are practically nil, so it will just be a waste of money. For example, medical schools in Texas offer lower tuition and hence attract many applicants from across the US, but they have much higher in-state medical school acceptance rates as they prioritize the needs of local communities. Applying to the easiest medical schools to get into. We always recommend that students should only apply to schools where they can at least match the average accepted GPA in MCAT. However, as a late-stage applicant, it's not enough to simply meet the minimum requirements or even be average. Your statistics should be outstanding compared to the program's average acceptance statistics to give you the best chance of success. While no medical school is easy to get into, some do have lower than average GPA or MCAT requirements, or may have more flexible admissions policies that could suit you. You can check out our US Med School Chance Predictor to see how your stats line up against the average accepted stats of schools you're applying to. Applying to DO schools. A common misconception among students is that DO schools are a great backup option if you're too late for MD school applications. This isn't true, as DO schools, most of which use the ACOMAS application portal, have the same medical school application timelines as MD schools. However, DO schools do have slightly higher acceptance rates than MD schools. More importantly, DO schools place a greater emphasis on essays, extracurriculars, and other qualitative application components that help to demonstrate the student's commitment to the philosophy of osteopathic medicine. If you have an interest in osteopathy and can effectively demonstrate this in your application via your essays, list of activities, etc., you have a reasonable chance of getting an acceptance even at a late stage. Schools with no rolling admissions. The lateness of your application is only relevant if you're applying to schools with rolling admissions. There are some medical schools you can target that don't have this admissions process. Instead, they have one single application deadline, usually sometime in October or November. This includes, for example, medical schools in Canada and most of the Ivy League medical schools. Note that many schools that don't use rolling admissions also have an early decision program, which might make the regular admission cycle naturally more competitive, since some spots are already filled. Additionally, when you submit your application, you could still impact your chances of getting an interview invite if the school in question uses rolling interviews, i.e., they issue interview applications throughout the open application season. On the other hand, some choose to conduct interviews on a rolling basis, but only take final admissions decisions after all interviews are completed. You should check the websites of the schools you're targeting to understand how your late application affects your chances of success in schools with regular admissions. How can you stand out from the crowd? First of all, if you've selected your schools based on analysis, research, and strategy, then you already know exactly what the programs you're applying to look for in their applicants. Use this knowledge to tailor your application to the specific requirements of these schools so you can make yourself stand out from the crowd. Extracurriculars for medical school. For example, while you can't make your medical school personal statement school specific, you can definitely use your MCAS work and activities section or TMD SAS employment and activities section to highlight the extracurriculars that you think the schools you've applied to will value more. For example, if you're applying to schools that prioritize research, innovation, and creative thinking, then make sure your list of activities includes multiple research entries. If they value community engagement and volunteer work, your MCAS Most Meaningful Experiences section should include significant volunteer work. Overall, we recommend that along with having above average stats and meeting all the medical school requirements, a late medical school application should have at least one really strong feature. Whether it's an impressive personal narrative supported by your essays, activities, or extraordinary extracurricular achievements, such as nationally recognized awards or 100th percentile academic results, there should be something unusual to catch the admission committee's eye. There are times when students struggle with seeing their own full potential and what makes them unique. If this is your situation, consider taking on a medical school advisor to help you identify your strengths and work on the weakest areas of your application. These professionals can help you see your own journey in a new light. Something that may seem like a mundane event to you may easily become the backbone of your personal statement. Conversely, these professionals may help you speak about any gaps or setbacks of your application. For example, even the lateness of your application can be eloquently explained in your essays, something the admissions committee may wonder about. A medical school advisor can help you present your situation in a favorable light and answer any red flags the committees might have questions about. Secondary applications. Even if your application is late, you might still get to submit your secondaries. This is your true chance to demonstrate your suitability for your chosen schools. So, don't forget to use your medical school secondary essays to continue to build this narrative theme of your key strengths and suitability for the program. Since every medical school issues their own set of secondary essay prompts, you have the chance to directly address the school and explain your activities, experiences, skills, and why they make you so well suited for their program. Some medical school secondary applications also include the option of adding accommodation essays, where you can explain extenuating circumstances related to your personal life or background that might have impacted your candidature and that you think the admissions committee should consider. Secondaries also sometimes include diversity secondary essays where you can discuss your unique profile, identity, background, etc., as well as adversity essays where you can talk about the greatest obstacles you faced and how you overcame them. If any such circumstances are applicable to your late application, you can consider using these essays to expand on them. If you have not discussed why your application was submitted late in your primary application, then the secondaries might be your chance to do just that. However, remember that any essays discussing diversity, adversity, and obstacles should have a clear growth narrative. Admissions committees won't really be impressed by an essay where you're simply explaining that you left your application for the last minute because of disorganization, and in fact, this would certainly count against you. They want to know about unique adversities you might have faced, such as illness, family circumstances, economic or social issues, etc., that held you back from having the same opportunities and performing to the same levels as others. They want to know what you learned from it and how you overcame that obstacle. If you're addressing your late application in these essays, make sure you explain how you progressed beyond past obstacles to continue your commitment to medical school. Also, keep in mind that you should submit your medical school secondary essays within 2 weeks of getting them. Even if your primary application submission was delayed, make sure you submit your secondaries as fast as possible without sacrificing quality. Submit your primary application even if your secondary requirements aren't ready yet. Don't wait to submit your primary application based on the status of requirements like the MCAT and letters of recommendation. These are two of the biggest sources of delay for students. MCAS, ACOMAS, and TMDSAS actually only need specific primary application components such as transcripts, essays, and contact and personal details before they begin verifying your application. The verification process takes time. For instance, MCAS can take 4 to 6 weeks to verify your transcripts, so get your primary application in as early as you can. Remember, the time taken to verify your application can also increase later in the season as the volume of applicants increases. Once verified, your primary application is sent to schools, and only then will you start receiving secondary applications. Most schools don't require MCAT scores or letters of recommendation before issuing secondaries. The exceptions are schools that use any of these components as part of their initial screening process. Before I explain what is considered too late for a medical school application, let's quickly go through the typical medical school application timeline. MCAS applications open in May, and the earliest you can submit your primary application is early in June. Technically, the primary application deadline is sometime between October and December for most schools, with early decision programs having a deadline of August 1st. But if a school has rolling admissions, this technical deadline is only a formality. By the time October rolls around, many schools would have already filled up the majority of their seats. Ideally, you would submit your primary application by early to mid-June and secondary application by July. This includes your MCAT score. Remember, the AAMC can take up to a month after you sit the exam to release the score to the school, as well as final letters of recommendation from your referees. If you're submitting your application in late June or July, you're entering a more competitive zone with thousands of presumably more prepared applicants having already submitted their application and possibly even received interview invites. August is a borderline period. At this stage, you are late and every day is crucial. Yet you can't afford to rush through your application and do a poor job with your essays or activity descriptions, as there are fewer spots available and only the outstanding applicants will get them. Still, if you have a strong application and are strategically well suited as a candidate for the schools you're targeting, you have a competitive chance to receive an interview invite in this period. Remember that there is such a thing as too late. September and beyond is simply too late for your med school application unless you are applying to a school without rolling admissions whose deadline is later in the season. Or you'll need a truly exceptional application with really unique achievements. If you're already in August or beyond, it's a good idea to reach out to a medical school admissions consultant to figure out what are your realistic chances of getting into medical school and how much of a risk your late season application is. Consider if any of the strategies we outlined above could help you improve your application and make it really competitive. And if not, then maybe it's best to wait until next year. How late is too late for the MCAT? If the applications have opened and you haven't completed your MCAT test yet, you might be wondering what's the absolute last date you can sit your MCAT. While we recommend taking your MCAT exam sometime in April or early May, at the same time, we understand how challenging this exam is and how difficult it can be to prepare for. It's not a good idea to take this exam before you are fully prepared. You don't want to go through the hassle and additional cost of retaking the MCAT because of a poor initial score. Having said that, you can't push the exam date too late either. The latest you should aim to take it is July of your application year. The results take 1 month to be released, so that means your final application submission will be sometime in August. And in the meantime, you can focus on making sure the rest of your application is complete and as strong as possible. Should you wait until next cycle? Deciding whether or not you should go ahead with the late application or put it off until next year is one of the toughest decisions you'll ever make. The key is to be realistic and consider all the relevant factors based on your circumstances. Consider all the pros and cons of pushing your application to the next year. Remember that the risk you're facing with late applications isn't just the heartbreak of rejections, it's also the material loss of financial and time investments. Medical school applications are expensive, costing thousands of dollars in application fees alone, to which you need to add the MCAT cost, CASPER fees, and if you get any interview invites, the cost of traveling to interview destinations. Some expenses, such as MCAT costs, may not be required again next year, but the overall financial loss is still significant, and you should consider if the financial risk is worth it or if you should take the gap year instead. Taking a gap year before medical school can actually be very beneficial for a lot of students. You can focus on improving critical areas of your application and have a much better chance of acceptance next year. For example, you could take a post-bac program for medical school to improve your grades or meet course requirements of more colleges. Or you can plan to take the MCAT again and get a better score. You can try to get significant volunteer, research, or clinical experience that will make your MCAS work and activities section stand out. This can also help you write a more memorable, articulate, personal statement and essays based on significant personal experiences, and to gain critical skills and a better understanding of why you want to be a doctor. Ultimately, a late medical school application, while not ideal, isn't always doomed to failure. With the right strategy and guidance, you could still land that interview invite and get back on track. Check out our blog to learn more about late medical school applications. I've included a link in the description of this video so you can find the blog easily. If you would like us to help you with your med school application, visit BeMoMedApplication.com to schedule your free initial consultation. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, so please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If you have any late medical school application questions that were not covered in this video, please let me know in the comments section and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And don't forget, we're giving away $50 Amazon gift cards every week to the best comments and questions, so comment below for a chance to win. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.